Hey there, this is Jacob of Spades. It is currently 1:30 a.m., so let's turn down the lights, pour a glass of your favorite spirit, and wind down with Amnesia the Dark Descent. Now, I've not played Amnesia before, but I hear it's a pretty scary game. But you know, horror games don't have to be that scary. We can make them nice and relaxing. Now, while this is a blind LP, I did take the liberty of reading the prologue that it comes included with the game. Pretty interesting stuff, kind of reminds me of a lot of that Lovecraftian stuff, but let's go ahead and get started. Yes. You'll have to excuse the excessive load times. Not exactly running a powerhouse PC here. There we go.
Don't forget, some things mustn't be forgotten. The shadow hunting me. I must hurry. My name is Daniel. I live in London at Mayfair. What have I done? This is crazy. Don't forget. Don't forget. I must stop him. Focus. My name is... I am Daniel.
Scared yet? Don't be. Your old pal Jacob of Spades is gonna be here to guide you through. I guess we've got control of our character now. Pretty standard FPS controls, I take it. Except I appear to have some manner of... oh. Successfully predicted the tab opened up the menu. Tinderbox. And looks like we've got a new journal entry. So let's see which one it is. No notes. No diaries. Does that mean it's a memento? Follow the liquid trail. Well, that seems simple enough. There we go. You know what? I don't feel like following the liquid trail. You know, sometimes when you're relaxed, you just go with the flow, but you know, sometimes when things flow, you just want to ebb. So let's go back. Let's have a look at, well, this appears to be a dead end. Some nice candles. We could light them if we had a tinderbox, but we don't. And some rocks. They're rather pretty, actually. Looks like this game's got some pretty good art direction going for it. I think I might be slightly insane. Kind of blurry and the picture's kind of pulsing. No? Are we locked here? Oh no. You can open the door. This is going to be one of those authentic moving of environmental items, isn't it? Ah, tinderbox. Can we take the candle? Unfortunately, no. Now, I do know a little bit about this game. Namely that I believe it's a sequel to something. Now, I know this developer did another game. Oh. Good to see asshole physics is alive and well. Alright. Somehow I'm reminded of... what was that show? The Tick? Well, I guess we're not going to be able to put the chair away quite the way we'd like to. Well, we've got a tinderbox. Does that mean we can do something with it? I mean, aside from light those candles over there. That doesn't seem very productive. Might as well continue on our merry way. Some very nice lighting effects. Anyway, I believe that this game is a sequel to another game by this developer by the name of Scratches, perhaps? Or is that just another one in their line? That was also another first-person adventure game in the horror genre. Don't know too much about that one either. No. Oh my. I seem to have fallen to the floor. Oh, no. Made a recovery. That's good. Some very, English architecture. Seems like maybe we're in some sort of castle here. I believe this game takes place in, turn of the Middle Ages. Bathe in the warmth of the fire. Warm the heart and warm the soul. Spirits to quench your thirst. Tinderboxes to light the way. It's not so bad. Yeah, things are dark and gloomy, but sometimes we just want to get away from the light. Sometimes we just want to hide away. Spend some time to ourselves. But we can't spend our entire life like that. So let's move on. No? Did I backtrack? Classic 18th century art. Or is that 17th century? Same difference to an uneducated plebeian such as myself. Very Christian. Perhaps. Perhaps it's just Roman. Who knows? Does it really matter? What really matters is that we enjoy the picture for what it is. We enjoy its composition, its color usage, and more importantly, the frame it's in. Well, let's move on, shall we? Anything hidden alongside the stairs? No. Don't worry, there aren't any boogeymen under the stairs. Footsteps. Oh my. Whatever could that be? best soldier on and confront it. For a moment there, that sort of looked like some sort of dark vortex. A sort of thing you might be sucked into. But fear not. I've always enjoyed this style of pixel shading. Gives the bricks much more depth than they actually have. I mean, of course they're flat, but it's very good when it's incorporated into a still image. It doesn't quite hold up to scrutiny when you, well, get close. What is this liquid? Very, very pink. Someone with a touch of indigestion and a clumsiness. Perhaps they've spilled Pepto-Bismol all the way to the bathroom. And this place does have a conspicuous absence of bathrooms. More than one copy of the same painting. They must enjoy this artist's work. Another tinderbox. Oh. Goodness. I seem to be turning more and more insane by the minute. Ah. So that's it. Peering into the darkness. Long I stood there. That's Edgar Allan Poe. It's the only Edgar Allan Poe I know by heart, actually. Get that out of the way. Yes, another game with sanity mechanics. Eternal Darkness. Sanity's Requiem. Or Requiem, if you prefer. Well, we may not know who lived here, but we know that they were a snappy dresser. Shame that they don't decide to hang up their clothes. They're gonna get wrinkly. Oh, this is the most well-lit room in the entire area. Now watch me step into it and have something unimaginably horrible happen. Aha. As predicted. Perhaps our tinderbox would be a good use this time. Keep myself from going insane. At least in the game. Outside of the game, well, we're doing alright, aren't we? Oh, a breeze. It still appears to be daylight out, so I don't know what there is to be afraid of. He fell to the kitchen floor. Tears were beginning to well in his eyes as he received the first kick in his stomach. Hazel remained hidden, in fear she too would be punished. Well, that's not very pleasant now, is it? The imagery of a rose falling from its vase. A delicate flower taken from its safe haven. Footsteps. Unfortunate we can't take the torch with us, but I suppose that the game wouldn't be very exciting if we could just pick it up. Well now, are these some notes? They are merely cosmetic. Another visit from our breezy friend. Well, before we venture further in that direction, let's check out this little side room. Bathe in the sunlight, for it is life given manifestation. The great preserver, sunlight. It seems almost deep, doesn't it? Oh. Oh dear. Well now, that's very rude. Interesting. A few more tinder boxes. A veritable treasure trove of tinder boxes. I suppose it makes sense. I mean, the primary mode of lighting would have been by candlelight, by torch, or by lantern. Nothing interesting out of these boxes. But I suppose it wouldn't be a first-person game without box physics. Excellent. I wonder if there's a thread on speeddemosarchive.org where they've discussed how to use those to get past even the most tricky of predetermined scenes in the game. Another dead end. And yet, another opportunity. For in finding a dead end, it reveals to us the one true path. The one that we ought to take. A lantern. Now, if only we had some oil to fill it. Don't despawn so soon. I was about to pick you up. Well, let us continue on. Oh. It appears I have the ability to jump. Ah. Here we are. Well now. That's not so scary. So many, many books, and yet not a single Resident Evil file. Strange gusts of wind, inexplicable earthquaking. We're certainly dealing with a mighty foe. This looks more important than it apparently is. A frame rate pickup there. Apparently rendering chest physics, it's much more difficult than box physics. as demonstrated. Lantern, light of my life. Rug. Make regal the floor beneath my feet. Soon we'll have an abode as warm as the lantern that fills it. With light, that is. It seems we've found the end of our trail of pink liquid. Let's take a quick peek around this place. That was unexpected. Oh. It appears I've run out of lantern oil. Unfortunate, as I really did want to explore this place more. Let's see, perhaps we can find a candle. A handle. And of course, the epitomous walkway behind the bookshelf. Oh, and of course, our first Resident Evil file. Take that oil kindly.
19th of August, 1839. I wish I could ask how much you remember. I don't know if there will be anything left after I consume this drink. Don't be afraid, Daniel. I can't tell you why, but know this. I choose to forget. Try to find comfort and strength in that fact. There is a purpose. You are my final effort to put things right. God willing, the name Alexander of Brandenburg still invokes bitter anger in you. If not, this will sound horrible. Go to the inner sanctum, find Alexander, and kill him. His body is old and weak, and yours, young and strong. He will be no match for you. One last thing. A shadow is following you. It's a living nightmare, breaking down reality. I have tried everything, and there is no way to fight back. You need to escape it as long as you can. Redeem us both, Daniel. Descend into the darkness where Alexander waits and murder him. Your former self, Daniel.
Isn't it great when revelation comes in the form of a note you've written to yourself that you cannot remember? It's actually a plot device I've come across before. An old, now debunked company called Presto Studios made a game near and dear to my heart by the name of the Journeyman Project 2, Buried in Time. Now, though it's not Amnesia as this game, well, clearly the name of the game is Amnesia: The Dark Descent, but in this game, you play as your past self, trying to clear the name of your future self of some crime. It's a time crime, as you might expect. The game involves time travel. But there is a rather lengthy expose about the initial plot of the game from a note given by your former self, though it's hidden in an action figure. It makes more sense in the game.
Alexander, is it inside the castle?
In a manner of speaking. Come, bring the lamp. You've been to the refinery, have you not?
I don't believe I have. Is it connected to the... what did you call it?
The inner sanctum. My most precious chamber, Daniel. And it lies well beyond the refinery. In fact, it lies beneath the very stone of Brandenburg.
For the moment, our current quarters are rather well lit. I doubt we'll need to be worrying about lighting anything for the time being. Though, of course, we can still attempt to stack chairs. I doubt that will ever get old. Come here, little bug. I do not wish to harm you. Well, perhaps a little. My. Powerful creatures, you. Now, Eternal Darkness, Sanity's Requiem, had an interesting way of dealing with sanity. Here in this game, as I've noticed. You also have sort of a sanity meter. Your health. No mana, though. So these two do share that, the sanity meter. But I'm going to go out on a limb and say that it was triggered in a slightly different way. You see, in Sanity's Requiem, when you first encountered a monster, your sanity was drained somewhat, and defeating the monster in combat would restore that sanity. However, there were some monsters you encountered that as you attacked them, they continued to drain your sanity, obviously draining it further than defeating them would restore. This was the game's main gimmick. Unfortunately, while the game is fun, the gimmick is, well, very much so a gimmick. Well, it breaks the fourth wall rather liberally. Ah? Has the way opened for us? I suppose I didn't actually check this door, but I didn't want to leave the area if I could help it, lest we summon up yet another loading screen. But I suppose that it looks... Oh? I suppose we've just scrawled down that the cellar door is locked. Perhaps it won't be as much of an obstacle as I feared. And yet, a fragrant taste of rose lingered in his mouth. Turkish delights, he thought, just like the ones at the consulate in Constantinople. Oh, that's a mouthful. I'm not really trying to put on an accent of any sort. If one's coming out, I suppose it's just the setting of the game. After all, we are in Europe. Perhaps it would be best if I pulled out the lantern once more. Or not. Ah, yes. Here we are. I'll have to remember to use it in bursts. Ah, more oil. How useful. Well now, how rude. As I was saying, it's not my intention to put on any sort of accent. I suppose it's just the setting of the game, the atmosphere, or perhaps it's just because I'm relaxed. Who knows? Ah. I'm almost forgetting my own advice.
Someone's coming.
Now, who could that be? Find the wine cellar key. Notes. The inner sanctum. Well, I suppose that's our current goal, is to find the inner sanctum. Now, someone's obviously been here before us, as a number of the candles do. Oh, pipe down, would you? I'm trying to relax.
there should be more Kuprak. Let me see. And one part Aquafortis.
That's better. Ah, yet another note. This is my third attempt to produce artificial vitae. I'm assuming vitality. Vitae? The former compounds lack the potency I need, but I sense I'm close. Calamine and Horpiment are given, and the cuprite binds them well. This time I will attempt Aqua Regia instead of Aqua Fortis, in hope that it will produce a more even solution. The experiment was unsuccessful. The solution is highly acid and proves impractical to put to any use except as a detergent. Well, organic tissue reacts especially violently to the solution and should be handled with the greatest care. I might be able to use the recipe, but I'm losing hope that I will find an alchemic solution to my predicament. So, trying to brew the elixir of life. I see you. I will take that tinderbox with gratitude. So, an alchemical laboratory. Why do I get the feeling that I'm about to fall through here at some point? Ah, I smell a puzzle. Are you relaxed yet? I'm certainly relaxed. Ah. Now, water. That, my friends, is the true elixir of life. The lack of a chimney to properly vent the fumes from my most recent experiments has taken its toll on many of my less stable ingredients in storage. Some seem unaffected, but many are stained by the fumes and will be difficult to salvage. I shall do what I can to move them to the wine cellar. Ah. So it seems we'll have to find the ingredients in the wine cellar. We'll have to find the formula chemicals. So what was it that we picked up before? Ah. Well, I know what to do with this. We'll eventually have to place it there, I assume. That's much more pleasant. I don't know about you, but things wiggling and writhing in the corners of my vision, not particularly pleasant. Unlike this video. Ah, you see what I did there? Bringing it all back. Circular. Perhaps that's the true alchemy. An alchemy of speech? An alchemy of presentation? Scylla? Vinarinia. Pinot Noir. Private Eye. Perhaps I should have taken the hint to come down this way when I first got it. Would have saved some time. Oh my. Well, now this is unexpected. Some sort of biomaterial. Tough and pliant. Unable to be torn by hands or tools, though we have no tools to try. I would expect that it would also not burn. And it looks rather moist, so I doubt it would catch flame anyway. Which way did we come in? That way? Probably. No name on the plaque. Well, it's something to try. Ah, what a stinker. Amidst the rubble must be a solution. To turn each stone over on end until it reveals itself. That is the plight of an adventurer. Considering I don't know if that's the way we came in, that would certainly lend credence to the theory. Barring us from returning to the point of origin. I believe a friend of mine once called that push gaming. Forcing the player to go ahead instead of returning from where they came from. Oh, come now, that's just a bird. Silly game makers. Well, let's see. Another apparent dead end. The door slammed shut behind him, and he knew he would never again see the old tailor at Berkeley Square. Another lone soul in London seemed appropriate somehow. Well, if we can't have the old archives, I suppose we could settle for the archives. Suppose we'll foff around in the archives, see if there are any answers given to us, and if not, or perhaps if so, call it a video. Libri Rare. Rare books? None many left. Oh. Rare indeed.
16th of May, 1839. The unflinching African sun has continued to plague our expedition, making it impossible to dig until dusk. How Professor Herbert managed to find the location in these vast plains of nothingness remains a mystery to me. When I asked him about the tomb again, he told me about the legend of Tin Hanan, the mother of us all. An interesting story in its own right, but I can't help feeling there's more. Later that evening, we uncovered a passage beneath the dunes leading to a sand-covered stone structure. The professor was confident it was the tomb we sought and ordered the others to clear the way late into the dark, cold night. Tomorrow, I shall lead the men into the ancient structure, hoping to reach the burial chamber. No matter what the professor is keeping from me, the dig should yield something interesting to take back to London and the British Museum.
Well, I suppose it would be safe to assume that all the lit candles were put there by us. So, assuming that, we can't have, well, recused ourselves from knowledge of the relevant very long ago. I dare say it could have even been within the hour. But what are we protecting ourselves from? By voluntary amnesia. Very intriguing. Ah. Shedding light on the situation. Always refreshing. Well, I suppose I should open these in order. Yes, I do see you, tinderbox. One more note to add to our library. Wilhelm's contract. I hereby offer my full attention and services to Alexander, Baron of Brennenburg. This contract will reign for a total of 3 years, when my freedom shall return to me. In addition, Alexander, Baron of Brennenburg, is to recommend my services at the Prussian royal court, and within the sanctum of the Order of the Black Eagle. May no man break this seal. Wilhelm, House of Garrick. Forgive me if I mispronounced Garrick. I believe it's German. Catalogs. Another darkened corridor. Another opportunity to use our trusty lantern. But first, let us peruse the side rooms for any further evidence. Another tinderbox. And another note.
17th of May, 1839. My hands tremble as I write. I feel a need to document my tribulation, for I fear that my memory will fail me if I linger. Today, I took some men and ventured into the dark, ancient passage we uncovered. Our torches burned faintly in the murky air as we slowly made our way underground. The men were superstitious and fearful. They argued loudly, and I felt their strange language getting to me. I mustered my strength and yelled at them to continue down the slopes and broken steps. The crudely carved passage confused me. It looked much older than the 4th century structure we had expected. The twisting path emerged into a great antechamber. The walls were lined with statues unlike any I'd ever seen. Despite their unearthly quality, I felt a strange familiarity toward them, which haunts me still. At the far end of the chamber, a great slab of stone sealed off whatever lay ahead. I gave the order to raise it, and as I pushed through the narrow space, the heavy stone suddenly dropped, sealing me inside. I was trapped.
Well now, clearly we are not on the other side of that stone slab, so how did we escape? Intriguing, to say the least. In the prologue short story, I believe it was another European gentleman entering a French-occupied city that had just been reclaimed by the orders of one of the many King Henrys. He went searching. You might wonder why I'm laughing at this. Just a particular English spelling of stadium I saw in a particular prototype ROM release. No, don't be silly. How rude. I was going to break it myself. old tools. Well, let's have a peek. Come now, that was just a book dropping. Really. All the things to overreact to. I am quite enjoying the piano interlude, however. Quite pleasant. Little light, give me the fortitude to venture forward. Light my darkest pit of night. Thank you, little light, shining through the darkness. Now, let us continue to search for clues, for hints to our scattered memory. A dead end. Well, that's just one more possibility ruled out. Local history. Oh? Locked again. Gathering hall of sorts. Open to majestic mountain. Or perhaps just a few lone trees poking out of the fog. I couldn't decide if I wanted to say out or up. And so I said oop. Which really, if anything, lends credence to this bizarre accent that I've adopted. Take a moment to look at the artwork. Marvelous. Low resolution, though. Actually, the subtle bubbling of the environment caused by the insanity, it sort of reminds me of a scientific experiment. Well, I don't know if you go as far to call it scientific. It was an argument made by a guest on an old episode of Bill Nye the Science Guy about optical illusions and the way brain interprets things, and the philosophy of accepting things as they appear rather than critically evaluating them. At any rate, at one point he beckoned the viewer to observe a spinning pattern, and then afterward displayed a still picture which, due to the effects of prolonged visual exposure to the spinning pattern, caused the otherwise still image to appear as if it were boiling, in that man's words. And indeed, this does rather resemble that phenomenon. It's really quite cool. Ah, a scroll. Or perhaps floor plans. Well now, we don't need a walkthrough, do we? Huh. Phooey! Away with you. Begone! That is really more fun than it has any right to be. Whoop! Oh, come now. Really? Frame rate stutters for the book? How absurd. Ah? Touching a surface not breakable by hand apparently broke a thing behind me. So let's investigate. Oh? No, it seems I've been blocked in. Now clearly such a collapse doesn't make sense, because obviously there's not that much debris to drop on the passageway. So something must be blocking us in. Maps. Kingdom of Prussia. Central Prussia. And the ocean around it? Prussian blue, of course. Ah, so they were indeed maps that I was tossing around. Right. Yet, before that... Ah, as expected. Now for the note. Oh, hold on. I want to...
17th of May, 1839. After pounding the unforgiving stone wall for what seemed like an eternity, I realized it was hopeless. I was trapped. I fell to the ground, gasping for air, trying to focus. That's when I saw a faint blue shimmer. My weakened body was heavy to carry, but I managed to push myself toward the enchanting light.
Oh, I'm in control, aren't I? Well, here I was expecting to be treated to an interactive marvel of storytelling, of course, the pre-scripted cutscene. But alas, it is nothing more than an allegory.
It was waiting for me. Enclosed in dark nothingness, I felt myself drawn to the mystic light.
Yes, yes. I remember you from the prologue. Once I snatch you, more of that hideous red material must come out to try and capture us, right? Ah, to grasp at the blue ball. There's a joke in there somewhere. I imagine another joke may surface if I were to refer to it as a blue sphere. At any rate, let us grasp the object.
Out, closing it in my hands. The faint glow escaped my fingers and began to spark brightly and spirit me away, unlocking alien memories of spiraling towers, endless deserts, and impossible geometry. The next thing I can remember is the grating sound of stone being lifted, the voices of the Arabs pulling me to safety, and grasped firmly in my hands was the broken pieces of a most peculiar relic.
Now, in the short story, the segment where the French soldiers and the accompanying European, from parts unknown, I don't know, he spoke both German and some French, took place in the 1700s, but the sphere was removed at that point, so where or when did the sphere get put back? Most interesting. Well, Let's call this a stopping point. This has already gone on far longer than I had anticipated it would. Well, I hope you're plenty relaxed and ready to hit your bed with the force of a potato sack falling from orbit. Or something equally absurd. And that you enjoyed the experience. I know I certainly did. The bubbling still image and everything. Well, good night, Internet. And I'll see you soon.